In Newtonian physics, two objects cannot occupy the same point in space and time. And even though they are digital, Git commits and the changes therein obey this rule. During a merge, commits that have divergent changes in the same file on the same lines result in merge conflicts. Conflicts are pretty uncommon if you're doing everything right, but in a big project, they'll happen. And they will happen eventually, no matter what kind of project you're working on, especially when you have a number of branches or developers working on the same project. So it's important to know how to handle this event when it occurs. Let's force the issue. We'll start by creating a new branch, git switch-c trouble to make a new branch trouble. And let's add some content to both file 1 and file 2. Okay, and we don't really care about what's going on in main. We're doing our own thing. We marched the beat of our own drum over here in the trouble branch. Now we'll git switch main, and we will add another line to file1.txt saying I'm definitely keeping this. And we'll commit that change as well. But of course, I want to know what's up with trouble. They actually had some stuff I needed, and so I'm going to merge that branch in here with git merge trouble. Now we are indeed in trouble because there was a conflict in file1.txt. The way that Git analyzes files is file by file and line by line. And so when there were two commits that had a change on the same line number in file1.txt, it didn't know how to reconcile it. It needs you to tell it how to reconcile it. Let's take a look at Git status just to see what it tells us in this state. You have unmerged paths, fix conflicts and run git commit. And it says that both branches had a modification to file1.txt. Let's open file1.txt just to see what's up. You can use any text editor you like. I'm using Vim. This is a little bit strange the first time that you deal with it. Git adds content to the conflicted file. And if you're not used to seeing this material, it can throw you. Let's break it down. The first thing you see here is this 7 left angle brackets and head. This indicates this is where the current state in our current branch begins. And then we have the content, whatever it happens to be. Then we have 7 equal signs, which is the separator between our current branch and incoming changes. After the equal signs comes all of the incoming changes. It could be more than one line. And then right angle brackets, and then the name of the branch where the change is coming from. So importantly, the two versions of reality here are separated by the equal sign, and the conflict begins and ends with angle brackets, starting with where we are and where things are coming from. So to resolve the conflict, the first thing we want to do is decide which of these we want to keep. I think I want to keep the current branch's version of this file, so I am going to remove what Git added on line 6, and also remove everything else below line number 6, and then save and quit that file. And we're actually going to do this a little bit differently than the way that Git is telling us to for clarity's sake. Yes, we're going to add file1.txt, but rather than use git commit at this point, because we're in the middle of a merge, we're going to use git merge -- continue. And here, again, we could have used a -m to add a message, but there's Vim again. Yes, we're merging branch trouble. And we're in. If we run git log with one line and graph, you'll see that we went out to the trouble branch and we merged it back in. Even though not all the changes that trouble had were introduced, we resolved the conflict and kept stuff, it's still a single commit that Git represents when that merge is completed. There is a lot to the topic of conflict resolution in Git, but this is the basic mechanic, and I want you to practice it. Introduce conflicts, resolve them, and get comfortable with that process, because when it happens, you don't want to be afraid of it. You want to understand what Git is telling you and how to get out of the situation when you get yourself into it. All right, that does it for Git merge conflicts. In the next lesson, we're going to talk about some more commit sorcery, cool things that you can do to manage your commits. I'll see you there.